Hello, my name is Garrett. This is the first video in a series of videos where I document my progress in learning Vietnamese. In each video, I will discuss my current level, how I've been studying, and my recent struggles and successes. I will be uploading a video once a month until I reach my goal of basic fluency, at least as I'm defining it, which I expect will take no less than 12 to 18 months. In this first video, I want to talk about why I'm learning Vietnamese, why I'm making videos about it, my study schedule, my study philosophy. After that, I will try to convey my current level and then outline my study plans for this month. So, why am I learning Vietnamese? My wife is Vietnamese, and I want to be able to talk to her family. In particular, her mother speaks zero English. I do find the language interesting, and I am excited for the challenge of learning a tonal language, but ultimately I chose Vietnamese because of my wife's family. So why am I making videos? I want to document the results of consistent study over a period of time. I think it's rare for someone to document the process of learning a language from beginning to a level of real fluency in any language. I want to create a roadmap of sorts so that people can have a reference of how much time and effort it really takes to reach certain milestones. So through these videos, I also want to illustrate the effectiveness of the methods that I'm using in the hopes that other people can use them to reach their goals. My own goal is to reach my definition of basic fluency. I want to be able to read books with relative ease, and I want to be able to express myself while having meaningful conversations in Vietnamese. So about my study schedule, I believe that my goal of basic fluency is not achievable through studying only 30 minutes or an hour a day. Certainly one can have fun and see results from that amount of time, but fluency is a high enough goal that I think it requires investing much more time. I'm going to start out at 3 hours a day, which I think will bring results and is within the reach of the majority of people, given that they're motivated to learn. More specifically, my goal is 3 hours a day of active study, which is where Vietnamese is my only focus. But life happens, and 3 hours a day of active study is likely not going to be, or is not going to be possible, at least one day a week. So on the days where I have other obligations, I'll still try to hit the 3 hour mark, but either through semi-active or passive study. And so semi-active study is where half of my focus is on Vietnamese and half of my focus is on something else. So maybe I'm washing the dishes and I have a TV show playing on the side that I keep looking back to. And passive study is where my focus is entirely on something else. Maybe Vietnamese is playing in my headphones or in the background, but I'm totally concentrating on something else. So as my studies progress, I may up the total time to 3.5 or 4 hours a day, but yeah, I'll decide that sometime in the future. So my study philosophy. So when I said I'm going to study 3 hours per day, some people may have gotten the image that I was going to have my face buried in a textbook for that whole time, but my studies are going to be quite different than that. I think studying from a textbook for hours a day is completely unsustainable. I also suspect that textbooks are inefficient for beginners and possibly detrimental for anyone at an intermediate or an advanced level who is aiming for real fluency. So most of my time will be spent exposing myself to raw Vietnamese. So videos, books, but no English subtitles, no Vietnamese subtitles, no translations English Vietnamese in books, side by side, just diving in headfirst and being okay with not understanding what I'm hearing or reading. That's really the core of my learning philosophy and is where the bulk of my learning will happen. The rest of my time will be spent mainly on the following two things: reviewing grammar with the goal of understanding it, but not to use it to construct sentences, only for comprehension, and reviewing vocab that I've come across in videos and books. Mostly the review will be done through flashcards with just a single sentence on them. So I won't be doing any speaking whatsoever for at least the first 6 months, with the exception of in these videos, just to illustrate the current level that I'm at. I don't think it's necessary to speak to learn a language, in the beginning anyway. So no meetups, no italki, no pronunciation practice for at least the first 6 months, nothing. I want to build up an innate knowledge of how words are supposed to sound and how the grammar is supposed to work before trying to use them on my own. I think that trying to speak too early leads to forming bad pronunciation habits and bad grammar habits, which are extremely difficult to get rid of down the road. So realistically, 6 months is probably too early for ideal results, but language doesn't have to be perfect. So yeah, I'm going to reevaluate once I hit the 6 month mark. I should also mention my wife's role in this whole process. She's a native English speaker, and the only time she speaks Vietnamese is when she talks to her family. So because I want to document a process that can serve as a useful reference to others, she won't be a part of my studies. I won't be asking her, hey, what does this word mean? Or, what did they just say in this video? Or can you explain this grammar to me? If I want this to be a replicable process, step one can't be to go and marry, a Vietnamese person. Where she will be helping is in recommending TV shows, books, websites, places to buy things, because that kind of information I can share and other people can use that in their journey as well. So moving on to my current level and my plans for this month. My current level is 0, absolutely beginner, or absolute beginner. I do know like 10 or 15 words, and I know a little bit about the language. It has some tones. I know like maybe the basic grammar structure is similar to English. I know the word for yes, vâng. I know the word for no, không. I know the word for cat, for dog, for rice. Not much more. Really, I can't, I feel like I can't even say like the Vietnamese language. I can't say like Tiếng Viet. I don't know. Hopefully anyone who knows a little Vietnamese can tell just how awful my pronunciation is. I don't know any sentences. I know nothing. If I'm not a beginner, then anyone can reach whatever level I'm at within a week or two of studying. Yeah, I don't understand anything that I see in videos. I don't understand anything in books. I have a book right here. It's a children's comic book. If I look in it, I literally can't find a single word that I recognize. Yeah, I can't really understand this. So yeah. So what are my plans for this month? I plan to spend most of my time watching TV shows and YouTube videos. In fact, I'll likely be spending most of my time that way during the 12 months that I'm studying, watching and listening to a lot of things. For now, that will be about 2 out of the 3 hours that I'm studying. The rest of the time, I'll skim some textbooks, see if there's anything useful, and then I'll work on understanding grammar patterns, learning to distinguish minimal pairs, and cramming some basic vocab into my head to kind of give me a head start in understanding what I'm hearing. I will also try to read about Vietnam and about Vietnamese culture from time to time in English, because I think culture and language are actually inseparable. You need to know one to really use the other, or you need to know culture to really speak the language well. So for now, any words that I don't know, I'll be looking up in a bilingual, so a Vietnamese-English dictionary. And yeah, that's about it for this video. The last thing I want to bring up is that I'll actually be live streaming all of the active study sessions. Again, active are the ones where I'm really only concentrating on Vietnamese, where semi-active I'm doing something else, passive I'm doing something completely different. I'm not going to have a video stream of me washing dishes or whatever. I expect it to be incredibly boring, and I don't expect anyone to watch it, but I'm doing it to keep me accountable and have a record of what I did over time. So yeah, it'll be on another YouTube channel, live streaming. Anyway, that's everything for now. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below, and I'll check in again in a month. So thanks. All right.